Because of AI, building has become more easy. And today I'm going to talk about how to build macOS application using AI or without AI. So let's get started. So you can see the title, how can you make macOS app? So the first option which you have is SwiftUI. So SwiftUI has some pros and some cons. Some pros is that it is native, fast, and most importantly, it is official coding language, official language by Apple. So that is the one benefit you get. So let me just do this one. These are the pros, but the cons are hard to learn. So let me just do hard to learn. Not hard to learn, I will say steep learning curve. Steep learning curve. If you want to migrate, if you want to build another desktop applications, not only limit yourself to macOS, but you have to rebuild another native application. So it you are limited to you are limited to native. That is one of the thing. So you cannot build. You have to build new app for Windows or Linux. So these are the cons of using SwiftUI. So if you are choosing SwiftUI, you have to think about the pros and cons, and you can choose according to it. Now comes the Tauri. So this particular is a lightweight alternative to SwiftUI. So this doesn't have a steep learning curve, but it requires a backend language, and that is called Rust. So if you know Rust, then only choose Tauri. If you don't know Rust, then learning Rust is also a learning curve, like steep learning curve. So you can choose Tauri, that is up to you. But if you choose Rust, then you have to do that. You have to learn Rust as well when choosing Tauri. But it is the lightweight alternative to SwiftUI, so it uses web view of the system. Performance is fast because of Tauri, as you know. Not Tauri, because of Rust. Lightweight, lightweight and then small bundle size. So that is the benefit of using Tauri. So you get all these things when you're using Tauri. Another option with us is Flutter. I have not used Flutter personally and not Tauri personally, but I have researched some about it. So Flutter again requires Dart. So the benefit of using Flutter is that you can build not only native application, you can build web app, you can build mobile application. So you if you learn Flutter and if you learn Dart, but again I think AI is not that well equipped. AI is not that trained to write Flutter and Dart code. So that's why I just didn't recommend it. But AI is trained for Rust code, so that's why you can use Tauri. So, but if you choose to go with Dart and Flutter, you can build iOS, Android, macOS app, then Windows, then Linux, and even websites also. So these are the benefit you get with Flutter Dart, but you have to also understand the complexities that AI may not help you in this particular case. And there are many libraries, there are many missing things which you need to have, which you need to write on your own. But when it comes to Tauri and when it comes to Rust, it is more matured framing than Flutter when it comes to desktop application. Now the last option we have is Electron.js. So this is something which I am using in SubClip. So again, Electron.js has pros and cons. So we will talk about cons. So cons are it uses browser engine. So so bundle size is large. Just how your browser is built, like Chrome, Brave, Mozilla Firefox, all uses browser engine. So all the browser APIs are available to Electron. So you have to do very less coding. But it comes with a con, that is it uses browser engine. Because of that, bundle size is large. You may see performance issue because of Node.js. Because Node.js is again JavaScript backend, and it is not compile time. So that's where the problem happens, and it has performance issues. unlike Rust, which is very optimized for backend, and unlike Swift, which is again very optimized for macOS. So these are the few cons which you have to face. So it will use a lot of RAM. Lot of RAM it will use because it uses packages. You know that RAM, it will use RAM a lot, use the CPU as well. So these are the cons of Electron.js. But what are the pros? And because of pros, you actually ignore the cons. So see, I'm not talking about you are building the next $1 million app, right? I'm just talking about an app which you can build and which you can say sell as a side project, as a side hustle, and at the same time you can build as a solo developer. So I'm talking about that features, and only you will build those applications which solves a particular one problem. So a particular one problem solution can easily be built with Electron.js. Earlier the problem was that it didn't have that much of community support. You couldn't actually debug it, and every Stack Overflow issues and everything was related to web apps. But since AI is already trained, AI has more context, AI has more knowledge, it can easily build you the Electron.js app. So I will just say the pros. So if you know TypeScript and JavaScript, then it is a plus because it uses React for front end, and Node.js for backend. So these are the two benefit of using Electron.js. So if you are a JavaScript or a TypeScript developer, you know these two things already. So you don't have to learn the language, you just can get started. And I will cover a series of Electron.js on how to build application and sell it like a production level app. And I will cover this in this series, but this is how you should get started with Electron.js. So React for front end, Node.js for back end. And these are the few pros, and you all get browser APIs. So you get the browser APIs inbuilt. So what does this mean? So for example, if you need to build a file picker, if you need to build a image or something like that, you don't have to do custom code. You can just call the React library and you can do it already, like do it automatically. It comes with inbuilt updater code. So whenever you push a new update, it will automatically update your application in the client's machine. So these are the benefit. Again, if you are looking to expand your macOS app to Windows and Linux, you can do that because Electron.js is again cross-platform desktop application build. So you can use this framework for that reason. And the main reason, the main pros are the React and Node.js because you don't have to learn the language from scratch. You can use it, and if any error is thrown, you can actually understand what is going behind the scene. And this is the thing which you need to understand how it works. And if you know how to use React, you can use any Chat.cn, Vue.js, or maybe Tailwind CSS. You can use those libraries to build your UI. So it will just feel like you are building a web app, just like a Next.js app you build. So this is benefit, and I will cover this is because there are not a lot of resources. There are a lot of potential gap because everyone is leveraging AI nowadays, but they are not building macOS application. So either it is not a niche right now, or it may not be a niche in future. But I got benefit of building macOS application using Electron.js, so I'm just going to share those valuable lessons with you guys. So stay tuned for that. Until then, take care and bye.